What's going on, guys? Phil Birch from Unfun Stuff here. I'm going to come back to you with another different type of idea for our weekly versus video this week. I figured I would go over our feature match. I know we didn't obviously win the feature match, so we're kind of getting into a little bit of a theme where I keep showing you guys videos where I lose. But, I figured I might as well go over my thought process and the things that I did here, or what was really going through my mind when facing Sero, because this isn't necessarily a matchup you always see. And Tate Lapata actually obviously made top 16, and I was somewhere in the 5-3 bracket, down like 40th place. So, yeah, I mean it's a good match. We play a 3-game set, and I figured it was a pretty cool thing for me to at least commentate on some of the stuff that I see while this is going on. I'm gonna go ahead and mute Levi and Tamron. They did a fantastic job, but I'm not entirely sure that we need to hear their commentary as well. And I don't want to directly steal, but it's fine. We'll go over it. So they get into, let's pause this for a sec. So they get into the video just a little bit late. Nothing actually happened before this. This is just turn one. As you can see, I lost a dice roll, which obviously is not ideal. I told him I didn't want to roll his non-rounded casino dice because I think that those are weird and they're technically kind of not legal dice in most card games. So yeah, but he builds his he gets his 4 build off, and you got to feel pretty good. You get your ready set go. I mean, build my 2 foundations. Trying to find like obviously a pretty big starter, and like I do believe that I make a lot of questionable calls here because I do think I am going a little too heavy on my low blocks that I play, because every Sero in the entire world tries to make every single attack low because I guess that's what they find value in. I don't know. But as you can see, I do end up playing a couple low blocks here and really just like a high spam count, which I think is valuable. The entire time, the judge is trying to set up a life counter for you guys. So you can see it just says 20 over here. We don't know what's going on over here, but 27 life as well. I will start off and say this dude drew entirely hot the entire game. So there will be moments where I become extremely frustrated because, as you can see, 3-attack hand right here that we're going to get smacked with. I'm sure he draws a 4th attack as well. And the dude checks pretty well the entire time. There's nothing really to explain too tremendously here. It's not like anything crazy goes on. Particularly, he's going to be using his high engine kick and calling for backups just to try and get himself even more cards. And he drew extend because obviously, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he draw extend? Which is surprising that he pitches there, but it's fine. At this point in time, we're just trying to not take really any damage from him because there's no reason for us to take any damage from his attacks. Also, we don't know what he's doing yet. We're seeing he's playing kicks. That can mean anything. So we're just kind of still feeling it out, right? It isn't exactly a super tough deck to figure out what's going on with. It's going to be a character that makes a lot of things low. He's going to make it tough for you to play the game. He's going to try and do as much damage as he can pretty early, pretty quickly. And if you could survive his one turn where he uses his once per game, you probably should win the game. It just is how it is. Second high engine kick coming in, going to be super fast again. Probably makes it low again because why wouldn't he? This character, Sero, does wield the kick package fairly well. I think it is very important for him to get cards like Think Fast out to really maximize it, but it's not the end of the world either way. So far we've taken no damage. Then we slide in a giant bite detention, which my initial reaction here. This is how it goes for me. So he plays giant bite detention in Sero. And here's how I've always looked at this card in Sero, correct? It is a good move that is here, let me move this around a little bit so you guys can see what card they're talking about. And also, I don't need this. I didn't see it at the top. That's my bad. So we got Giant Bite Detention, which is going to give +3/+3 to itself, obviously, on the combo. But it shuffles 3 cards from either player's discard pile into their deck, up to 3 cards. The way I always looked at Giant Bite Detention Sero is you want to target your opponent's discard pile and you want to put their high blocks in so you can make things low and it's pretty free. And then they have a lot of high blocks in their deck, which they will end up drawing, stuff like that, right? This guy kind of goes away from that and goes towards a shuffle his own cards in. And I think it's wrong because like I'm ready to hand him my discard pile. He's like, also he is visibly nervous. Interesting. Well, he gives it 3-3 with the combo. We're still just kind of hanging out. We're just waiting, waiting, waiting. I, th- I must have had triple low block, which I think is the most absurd thing in the entire world, but perhaps. Shuffles his own cards in, yeah. So this is the part where I'm talking about where it doesn't really make sense to me for him to be doing that. Especially if he's planning on this game for going like even a little bit longer, right? He's just shuffling foundations into his deck. So not only is he hurting his own draws for attacks, it doesn't necessarily make my deck harder to block, right? Like it doesn't make it harder for me to block, which I didn't understand. So yeah, I mean it works out for him in the end, but I don't think that that is the reason that this game goes so poorly. We try to block it on a 8. Gotta check a 5 here, so for half. He keeps telling me to like keep going ahead, and I'm like, dude, I'll just wait for you to finish shuffling. We're not in that much of a hurry. But yeah, giant bite detention. We're trying to block it. We are 1 off, so I take 7. 13, which hopefully the stream has a hold of because that guy still hasn't gotten his life counter out. He just absolutely refuses to. By the way, this is the match I was talking about where with the judge. I don't know if you guys watched my live stream or not from Tuesday, but this is the judge that I'm referring to. He's actually just kind of like bantering the entire time, like talking to us the entire time, and we like don't have a life counter like for the stream at least. Like obviously we have our pieces of paper, we can write stuff down, but I think the idea is for these stream matches, you're supposed to have like a phone out or something to keep track of life for the people watching at home, right? Our opponent is checking very well, continues to check extremely well. He checked he checked 5-5-5-5-5 there, which obviously great for him. We do have like a position to potentially do some damage on a backswing, and we do go for it. Obviously, like why wouldn't you? But our deck has forsaken us. We do not get to check fives like our opponent Tate Lapata, which is fine. We're playing a card that gets to build in our zero diff, so it's not tremendously tremendously difficult. It's like for us to figure out here. We are in a fine position either way. Requesting assistance kind of comes in pretty big for him, or will come in big for him on this turn, just because. I mean, he gets to ready another requesting assistance, ready something else, and like our big effects are from stun. Like that's how we push damage through is with stun. So this does become a bit of an issue, um, or at least it can become a bit of an issue pretty quickly, pretty easily. We finally have our calculator up. I'm just realizing how impossible it is to see the red number, but hey, that's life. I would do want to say I did have a decently good time playing in this match. I had a couple of very frustrating moments occur, but overall it is a good match. As you can see, like my early build was broad, but it was just a bunch of do nothing cards basically. It was like every spam in the entire deck, which isn't ideal, right? You want to see, um, you know, other things. You want to see like your 2 diffs, your 3 diffs. I want to see copies of like what you call it, Excited for Blood. All those good ones. I was exceptionally liberal with floating with my babies in every game I played during the tournament. So I pretty much just every time I played an attack would throw off three off the top of my deck because I don't have great recursion anyway. I have to be like, hey man, my effects go off first. You can dial her back. Easy. You lose life. I respond on losing life. But yeah, Sero can be a tough matchup, especially like in this situation. He doesn't necessarily know what is going to happen. He just knows that I am holding a million blocks, right? So how this actually goes in my head is fairly different than how I play it out, I believe. I'm supposed to probably just build one pass after this. Oh, or I guess I could play the attack to get another filter, but like it doesn't. We're not killing it, right? We're not doing much else, and we want to hold blocks of each zone so we can potentially stop him from killing us. The correct play here, and I do think I go for it, is the zero grav because I do want to I have to filter to find a block zone that he does not know. Finding a block zone he does not know means that I am in a bigger position, but once again I am committing two foundations to play my card. No five checks in my entire deck. Yeah, this is definitely not the ideal situation for sure, right? Like he checks three, so he does take six. He goes down to 20, which is good for us. We get a filter, so he knows we have a high block in Excited for Blood. So what I do is I drew an after one, so I just discard the Excited for Blood, right? So if he's paying attention, he thinks, okay, this guy doesn't have that one more high block. He's traded it in for something else, so we are safe to probably go high. And like we hold a low block just so we can't go low. And we're setting ourselves up for like a really good mix up here where if he doesn't get the read off, like we are in a good position. Um, Crow and Frog Takedown is not a good card in Zero. It's just not. I'm not going to tell him and why the guy's playing it. It's not a good card in Zero. Don't play it. Just don't. At this point, I believe myself and the commentary team is just actually has their brain explode in their hands because why is this in your deck? It doesn't do anything. I will say I played a lot of matches where I actually feel like I should have had my copies of Face Shield main deck. This is particularly one of them. If I had more Face Shields mained, I would have had a perhaps different tournament, but I read the meta in such a poor way, I'll say. Not necessarily a poor way, but like a different way, where I thought this isn't potentially how it plays out. So I should be fine doing things in a different manner, where I was like, it should be okay. But I was wrong. So he goes for the response to give it more damage. He's very clearly like going for lethal, right? Like he thinks that he makes this one lethal. He's trying to like for sure guarantee that I die, which is smart. I mean, I am low. 7 health is not great, but 20 health is a super manageable number. So if he misses it, it should be a very like easy kill, barring like some misfortune, right? Which I'll definitely say certainly does happen. He makes it a mid. We go for our half block, cause, or he makes it a high. We go for a half block to try and bait him off of it. We check another three, by the way. Another three. He gets to draw two cards because Sero, which is fine. That was a misplay on my part. I didn't think about it. but that's okay. He is checking absolutely poorly, right? Like he's checking horrible. So we have like the potential to like not die here. Like we are absolutely alive because he just like keeps this thing high. I have to blow up my entire staging area, like commit absolute genocide, but we are technically still alive here. And once again, he shuffles in cards on his own deck. He gives himself a couple. He gives himself one good check and two attacks. I think. Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't. I like the idea of the deck though. Like I think Giant Bite Detention Sero is something that is quite playable. It is nice. It's real. It's cool. And like obviously he did really well with it. And maybe he, maybe throughout the tournament he learned a little bit more through his plays on these things. Like maybe that was what happened. But yeah, from my experiences, this is not exactly going how it should for him. I drew no card draw this game, and all my foundations have been spams, except for the one Summo style. He makes it lethal on a half block. He changes it back to high. So he like really, really, really commits. He really, really commits to this play. Like he's like, okay, I'm gonna do all these things. I'm gonna make it a high. I'm gonna this, that, and the other. Like I'll make it a low, give it stats, make it a high again by tapping more cards. Like he really commits to this play. I check another three, which is why I tapped it because I've only checked threes this game. Of course, naturally. And that was kind of how my tournament experience went, though, guys. Like the deck is 60 something cards. I checked about a billion threes on Saturday, which sucks, but it is what it is. And then he goes to play some foundations, looks at my discard pile, tries to see stuff is going. Let's speed this up a little bit. It's going a little slow. We could speed it up, and I can pause it when I need to. There's a lot of thinking. I mean, it is a tournament match, so the thinking is warranted, right? Like he plays his high block. My deck is all high attacks. I don't know what his read was to play a +1 high block, but we get to draw 7 cards here. 7 cards. Almost all of our deck has stun 2. He should be in a bad position. He should be in a horrible position. We also have the zero gravity lift, and we draw ourselves 7 foundations. Yeah, we drew 7 foundations. So the game is just basically over. Um, yeah, it's over before it even starts. And like we check another attack, which is fine, but we needed to draw something, and we drew absolutely nothing. Now we're hoping our opponent in his 5 cards whiffs, but this guy has never whiffed a day in his life. Oh, huh. Did he draw an attack off of that? Or does he make it a high and I just don't have a high block? Try to draw a high block, don't get it. Release. Am I the idiot here? No, he is out engine kick. He drew a kick off of the kick. This was a frustrating one to watch. These are only 2 attacks, but of course they're the ones that draw more attacks, right? Like, gives it 2 speed. Did he draw another attack there? No, he didn't. Unfortunately, I have to use wall cling here, which means I only have a half block. So he gets to draw cards off of this. And he draws another attack. Oh, he drew two more attacks. Yeah, he drew two attacks off of it. We are dead. So I tried to get like the blocks out of the way. Like I just looked at my hand through flipping through there, and I had potentially just the ability to low block here. But it's like it's a hard read, right? It's hard to read to make to just go, all right, let's low block this if he made it low, so he doesn't draw two cards. Because like if he already has it, he already has it. So I have to be sure to try and block all of his things, and hope he checks poorly or doesn't draw more gas. But like he just kept drawing gas, and that's obviously not helpful for us. I keep having to blow up my entire staging area to block, and we didn't draw any of like the build-in cards, anything like that. And I check poorly again, and that causes us to die there. So let's fast forward through the side decking. I become increasingly frustrated during this match because, like, I don't know, what a series of luck you have to like see all these things happen in your opponent's favor. But it is what it is. I make the call here to side into Ochako, which I don't think is correct. I actually think I should have just stayed as Toga, but I just kept becoming so increasingly frustrated that my Toga deck was like shitting the bed all day that I was just like, I cannot justify this. I actually have to be. I actually have to be somebody else. But yeah, this one ends up going a little bit better for us. So we will see that as soon as all the shuffling stuff ends. I made a read that he might turn into fourth kind here actually as well. My initial my initial Ochako read here is actually that he turns into fourth kind. I played against another Denki actually. Or I played against a Denki that turned into Sero the previous round before this. And I had the same read where I was just like, I think they just turn into fourth kind, right? Like that seems like the best play for them. And I think both times it didn't happen, but both times I'm like, all right, I guess Ochako works. Yeah, I'm like okay, we'll be Ochako. For the record, I do think that Ochako is a pretty good side deck character. In Toga. I don't necessarily think the way I utilized my side deck was correct, but I do think that this character is good for the Toga side deck. I shuffle everybody's deck, so this isn't like I think my opponent cheats kind of thing. I just shuffle everybody's deck, so it gives me a little bit of extra time to think because, like, man, frustration can kick in pretty quickly in these games, especially if things go really poorly for you game one. Like, it's important for you to like get like back on that level ground. But yeah, that's why I shuffle. I shuffle to give myself a little bit extra time. There will be times when I just like cut, but mostly you'll see shuffles like this anytime you see me on a stream. Particularly if I'm losing. Get a nice four build. Not too shabby. He discards a tape, which I don't really agree with, but that's fine. It is what it is, I guess. It is your deck, Mr. Tate. Mr. Tate Lapata. Tape and calling. Roots on a five? Do it. You're nuts. I think I drew all attacks this turn, by the way. I think this is an actual all attack turn. Double Crow and Frogs for our opponent. So 2+2 mid blocks. He has to take it. I sling it to my momentum. Haymaker. And we have another zero diff in our yard. This is like the best case scenario, right? This is playing at light speed because everything that happens this turn is actually just me fucking my opponent. He minuses 2 speed, I put it back up to 4 speed. Seven has to commit. Oh, box out of 6 has to doesn't have to commit everything. So I meant to say. Gets rid of the lashing. Pretty sure I have exact math with the cards in my hand. Who's that? He's at 20. The life I know it says 27 over there. Okay, they're changing it now. It looks like, but yeah, he's at 20. And we managed to do 20 with these moves. I'm pretty sure. So we got some good shit coming through, coming from the boys. We're doing like the fucking calculator in our head, dude. We're really fucking crunching the numbers. Take 6, go to 14. We check Toga for the absolute gamer check. +1 damage. Destroy it for +1 damage. Build it back in. Takes 7, goes to 7. And on a 6. And then once again, we get we get a quick dub right there, right? So I'm feeling pretty good. We go through side decking again. I put the race that goes back in. I'm pretty sure is what happens here. Which is maybe not the right call, but it's probably fine. I have to find cards to take out is the problem, and like it's tough to justify most of them. Probably should be 3 high blocks because we're playing against Sero, so we don't want to like reduce our block situation. Or I guess 4 high blocks if we kept. Now I think we should have went back to Toga here because we're not getting the same offensive power by going first, but we definitely stay as Ochako, and yeah, it does not go our way. That's for sure. It does end up being like a longer one too, right? Let's see if we can get us back into the action. Oh, too far, too far, too far. I fucked it all up. All right, there we go. We once again shuffle our opponent's deck. Oh, he has decided he must shuffle my deck now. He says that Phil's a cheater. No, I'm just kidding. It's really unfortunate how this one plays out. Because I do believe he gives me turns to actually kill him, and I once again just don't. I just don't draw attacks. Because like obviously for game one he gave me a 7 to try and attack him. I draw nothing. I think similar thing happens this game where I just get a 7 or a 6 and I just draw nothing. I can gain 1 life off that card, guys. The card he's reading, I get to gain 1 life off of it. Our boy starts off with the classic extend. It's almost just past the check, dude. I'll take my stun one. It's fine. Four's good. 23. Oh, we try and fail block. Oh, no, we failed that block on purpose because that is a +4 mid block that we do not need. He does a second review. He plays Crow and Frog takedown second so he can activate his Giant Bite detention potentially, I think. But hey, that's life. Full block. This is like just some awkward play from our opponent. Makes it fast. Go to 17. Yeah, like it just keeps. It's just kind of like it's just kind of an awkward build, but like he definitely gets us right. He gets us in the end. I don't necessarily think I will ever agree with Crow and Frog takedown, but it was victorious. It was a top 16 deck, so he builds out really aggressively here with triple requesting assistance, which sucks obviously because our whole deck is stun, so that's not great. I don't remember what we've got here to combat him. Stun 2, which is fine. He can requesting if he wants. I get the look. I believe I'm trying to draw, is what ends up happening here. Return my attack. Respond with Ochako. And all I did was hold my mid block. I just held a tight lipped. Like if he gets it, he gets it. Take my 4, go to 13. Like as you saw, I could do like we can do 26 or 27 in one turn. We can do it. He no longer has his ability. We're just looking for the ability to not take a bajillion damage here. We do give him a card here, which sucks, but it is what it is. And now it is entirely up to what we draw versus what he calls. Also, he drew 2 attacks again off of it, so obviously, why wouldn't he? Here's a situation that plays out here. So in my head, I'm thinking I can draw at least a mid block with my passing the torch because I know what he is doing. Also, he doesn't need to be changing the zones of his moves anymore, but I think he isn't actually. He actually just keeps drawing attacks also, which is pretty nuts. I draw double high block. Double high block, guys. Because there's like a case where he plays this giant bite and I'm still alive, right? If we draw a mid block here, uh, we take 5. His giant bite is for potentially 8, assuming he checks well. But say la vie, dude. Go to 3. He chill checked to 5, so we're gonna die either way. But it is an incredibly frustrating situation to deal with. That's for sure. I try to bait him into saying, "Hey, I have the low block," by using release. But I drew 2 eye blocks, and we lose the game. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what I took out in that side decking situation, but we shouldn't. If we took out, or we're putting the 4 ready, set, get set, goes back into the deck, we should be taking out high blocks so that we don't overflood one zone, which I don't necessarily know is what happened. So once again, I mean, read that situation correctly. So great job. He drew like an absolute animal all game. Like, what a great job. The kick package is very good at doing that. So he got to accentuate the draw from Sero with more kicks, which is, I mean, ideal, right? Like, that's what you want to do. So, yeah, good job to him. I think that playing this back, I would have liked to see maybe a little bit different of building. But I think it was hard to. I think it was hard to not justify that play there. Like I think keeping the one mid block with Frog Walkling into having passing the torch is the correct call, right? I think that is correct. He can't ever make anything high because I have high blocking my momentum. I could always pick up. The situation just I needed to draw a low block, and I did not draw a low block. So we kind of got boned, but it is what it is, man. Tate had a great run, made top 16, so at least he was a good tiebreaker, and we lost to somebody who was in top cuts. I lost to two top people in top cuts, and then like another dude who got like I think in the top 20. So yeah, overall not too bad. But yeah, things that I would definitely say do better would be like, particularly in game one, I don't think my position was strong enough for me to be doing anything other than like blocking, and I don't think that I did blocking well enough or efficiently enough in that game. And then we just missed a backswing, right? Like we had an opening where our opponent was at 20, mostly committed out, and we missed a backswing, which does happen. So like that's life, right? That's the My Hero Academia game. That's universes. Game two, the game plan of changing into a Chaco worked really well. We obviously drew the hand that can kill people. Like you start with a grab lift, and then you like have haymakers, and you have like these damage pumps on board, and you can just see how explosive and damaging the deck can be in situations like that. And then game three, I mean, we were what a low block away from potentially getting to have a turn to fight back, but it's not necessary that we would have drawn the right ones anyway. Anyway, right? We really needed to steal that game one, and unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. And yeah, we got kind of punished for it. Anyway, dudes, hopefully you enjoyed this analysis of my game, where I think, like I said, Tate played really well. He he drew like he drew like super well, but like I mean, obviously that's part of the game. I think his reads on zones were really great. The way he was using Sero was super efficient, especially his once per game. So awesome job to you, man. And yeah, it was great. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one because I didn't get to do my Columbus one, and it makes me sad because I won the Columbus one. Anyway, guys, be sure to hit the like, hit the follow, subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave some comments, guys. I'd love to hear from you guys. And thanks again for watching.